guys, welcome to the 7th episode. Today is the third and final part of my conversation with Saige. If you haven't checked out the previous 2 episodes, I highly recommend. In those episodes, Saige shares her story of becoming diagnosed with aplastic anemia and undergoing immunosuppressive therapy. Today is slightly different. She's going to share with us her reflections of her experience and the lessons that she's learned and the role that her relationship with God has played into her story. I really hope that through this episode, we'll become better listeners by understanding that everyone has a unique story that we wouldn't be able to tell just by looking at them. So thank you for joining us, and I hope you enjoy.
So then I came for February, and then I caught a bit of a cold in March. So I didn't go to school for the 2 weeks before spring break. And then here we are. So as of now, I've gone to school for probably like 4 weeks.
So
here, baby.
Fully recovered?
No.
So what does that mean?
So the treatment that I got, even if I do get to the perfect numbers, I'm never going to be fully recovered from aplastic anemia because I didn't get a bone marrow transplant. So I'm always going to be... Sorry?
What's the term that you used when you described it to me?
Remission. I'm always going to be in remission. So for a cancer patient, remission is like the period when they get diagnosed, but they could also the word relapse maybe is the right word to use. But usually like remission is like a 2-year period for them. And then it's like, okay, well, maybe I'm coming out of remission because I'm actually feeling really good or something. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But for me, that's going to be me for life. And like I could get aplastic anemia again in a week or in a month or in 27 years or never. I just don't know. And they don't know what causes it, so I don't know what to avoid or what to do to keep it from coming. But, at this point, I'm just going to tell myself that it's never coming back, and I'll deal with that. I'll cross that bridge when I get there. You know what I'm saying?
So do you feel fatigued still on a daily basis, or do you feel back to 100%?
It's weird because, like, say I go on a run, and then I go hang out, and then I go to do something else, like, physically draining, then I'll feel really tired afterwards. But it's kind of like there can also be days when I wake up and I'm like, nope, today's not my day. I can't. Like even like a week ago, I was like, oh man, like I was just like so tired every day. I was like, I can't do anything. And then I emailed my teachers. I was like, sorry, I'm tired. And like I know that sounds like such like a cop out, but
no,
I hate using it as an excuse because like that's so just annoying. So I'll only like say it if I absolutely have to, So like now pretty much back to normal, except for I'm still like going through the sleeping thing. It's just weird. I think it's just like because I'm still on a few heavy drugs and I'll still be on a few heavy drugs until September. So like a year I'll be on these heavy drugs for. And yeah, I think I just messed with your
body.
Sleep. Yeah, that exactly. Thank you.
When we were talking about this earlier, one thing that you said really stood out to me, like aside from this conversation, you said that often people think that when you recover from a big sickness, you're like, oh, magically better, and you feel like your life has done a 180, and then your relationship with God is like strong, and you just said that was not the situation for you.
Dude, yeah. So, whenever you hear someone being like sick, you're like, and they recover, it's like, oh my gosh, they must have like so many new ideologies and like they beat the system. Like they must be like on top of the world. But like I lived for so long, not even lived, I was surviving, bro. Like I literally went survival mode. So I didn't think about life. I didn't think about anything. And then when I kind of came out of the woods, it was like, oh my gosh, like this is that, getting used to everything being normal again. But like, I don't know what's normal anymore still. I can't remember what my normal was. I don't know if I want to go back to it because it's pretty much been a year since everything started. So I can't really remember exactly my day-to-day more than a year ago, And I am a different person now after it. so yeah, like I would still say I'm recovering. It's definitely, it's also not only physical but mental as well, right? But yeah.
I mean, going through the whole process, obviously your body was put under a lot of different types of stress, but like emotionally and mental well-being is, I think, another aspect that people.
Exactly, yeah. Definitely.
What role do you think God played in this for you?
All right, baby, let's go. Honestly, like, this is how I always thought about it. I was like, I don't know how someone can go through this and not understand that there's something bigger behind it, not understand that it's happening for a reason, or that there's someone bigger in control of this, and there's someone who like loves me, and if I do die, I'll be okay. Because I think I don't know, you remember that project in grade 8 we did secular humanism? People
No.
who are okay, well, cool. For people who are atheists, I think that's why there's such a fear of like, you ask like an atheist what their biggest fear is, like, oh, death. I don't want to die. I want to live forever. I'm like, no, heck no. Death is this is just my opinion afterwards. I don't want to offend anyone, but death is a gift. Because, dude, you're in heaven then. So for me, I think it was easier for me to kind of like go through it, because I was like, well, even if I do die, I'll be in heaven. So sucks for all the rest of the losers who get to sit here on earth and just wait, But like even how I said before, like that blessing song that came into my head the night before, and just it literally changed me from being glass half empty to glass half full for the rest of the thing. That little thing. And I hadn't heard that song in years. And the words just came into my head, and I was like, oh, I'm getting chills again. Anyways. But like it was, I don't know. And I was like messy during this whole thing. So I would like email a few teachers and like ask them like, because like I'm a 17-year-old kid. I don't know exactly like the theories and the exact
Ideology.
algorithm to exactly like whatever. So I remember one night I emailed Mr. Allen and I was like, hey, Mr. Allen, I'm just kind of struggling. Can you like help me out with something? And like I told him what was going on, and then he was like, oh, I've read this book. It's really good, and essentially it says like this and that. And then he was like, I find when I'm going through trials, it's really important to lean into Jesus when you're struggling. And I was like, at first I was like, man, shut up. Like,
Don't come at me with that Jesus thing.
exactly. And over this whole time, people were like, God's in control, right? You're okay. And I was like, shut up. Of course I know. Move on. Tell me something new. But I was pretty like, at the beginning when he sent me that, I was like, awesome, dude, thanks. And then I kind of was like, okay, sit down. This guy knows what he's talking about. Think about it a bit. And then I was like, you know what? Maybe he's right. And that was like halfway through October as well. October was a month for me. But anyways, so I kind of thought about that and I was like, he's right. Like, so then I was like, whenever I would just feel it, I was like, God, take the wheel. Like, and I never really knew what that meant specifically. Like, I was like, oh, so what? You just like, oh, God, please help. Like, but literally that's what I would do. I'd be like, I'd sit on my bed and I'd be like, God, I can't do this. I really need some help. That would be really cool. Thank you. Just out loud. And then I would like feel better. Or like people like, I would get a message, like I'd wake up and I'd feel like really good that day. And I'd be like, why am I feeling so good? And then I get a message later on of like someone saying, oh, I thought about you today, or I prayed about you today. And like, I really want you to get better. Or like, I really love you, man. Like, and I was like, oh, it's so weird. Like I felt that, it's just coinky dink. I don't know how people do it without God. It's crazy. It's so crazy.
Do you feel like you grew closer to God through this?
Weirdly enough, no. I feel like it's just kind of been the same, because with my relationship with God, at least it's been like, with the friend, if you're not there for them 100%, it's kind of like, okay, like you suck. I'm going to kind of distance myself a bit. With God, it's not. Like I could be distant from God and then I come back and it's like, he's always 100% like, I will like, come on, like give me a hug. Like, it's okay, So I think, I don't know. At this point, No, I'm just gonna say no.
No, and that's an honest answer, and I think that's great.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you.
So what did change for you then? Like,
My
obviously,
bone marrow started working. Sorry.
aside from the obvious like body changes, like from the
Hmm.
beginning of this in September to now, which is May. Well, one thing you did mention was the glass half empty and the glass half full. Do you feel
Yeah.
that is
I
a
definitely think I've become like more optimistic overall, which is kind of hard to believe because I'm a pretty happy-go-lucky gal to begin with, I think. Um, but and also like not the perspective of like life's a game, but it's like, why would I take it so seriously when I could die tomorrow? You know, like I'm just gonna have fun with it, mix it up a bit. You know, why not? Live every day like it's the Latin, dude. I'm just like Tumblr quotes coming out of my mouth. Like, um, I also think I've become like I know who's gonna be there for me, like friendship wise. I know who I can count on and who I can trust to actually show up for me, and I know who I can't. And there was definitely some changes in between, which were, you know, difficult and everything when you're going through a disease and stuff like that, but necessary ones, obviously. And like, you know, you never really know who's closest to you until like a life trial happens, you know? So some people shone through who I didn't think were gonna, and some people just withered, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
What do you think people get wrong about your story often?
Dude, people think anemia and aplastic anemia are the same thing. They're not. I'm here to clean the slate. They're not the same thing. That's all. Ugh, they're not the same thing. Also, I think because sorry, I'm like deep now. Okay, here we go. But I think because I talk about it really nonchalant a lot of the time because I'm not like the
That's
kind
how
of
you
person to be.
deal with things.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember the first, sorry, I just like came really close, but I remember the first day I came back from being in the hospital initially to school, a person said to me, I made a joke about it. I was like, because they told me this is when I kind of didn't really know what I had, and everyone was like, oh, like, what do you have? And I was like, I don't know, we'll see. And she, like, this girl, everyone was kind of like, ha ha ha, like a chuckle. Great. This one girl was like, why do you make a joke out of it? Like your life's on the line or something like that. And I was like, shut up. Like, oh, sorry. But I was like, oh my gosh, what if that's how I deal with it? Huh? And like, I think that's how I deal with it the whole time. So like when I bring it up, people are like, oh, that must have been crazy for you. And I'm like, well, yeah, it was. And then I'm like, yeah, that happened. Like, but I'm also not the person to be like, yeah, like blood was pouring out of my nose and like I couldn't breathe and stuff like that. Like I'm not gonna jump into something like that. I'm like, yeah, well, it was fun, you know. And obviously, I'm not gonna like change who I am because of that. So, yeah, yeah.
Do you feel
I don't
like
know if that was a clear answer.
your answers are all just kind of all over the place?
Yeah, holy.
You know, it's messy.
It's messy. I love it.
Um,
Okay.
you told me that you wanted to share your story and go more in depth. You said you felt like God was prompting you to share it. What is there anything specific that you want listeners to take out of this?
Really put me on blast with that one, huh? I don't know. I just ever since like middle way through December, it was like this thing inside me being like, you need to tell people about what happened, and you need to tell people that you're okay. So I think whatever, if I was going to tell someone something from everything that I've learned, it's that whether you're going through physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, academic, even struggles in general, if you have the right mindset and like you're keeping God close at heart and you're, you know, like I said in chapel, those 3 points, friends, family close, God close, positive mindset, like you can do it. You know, like it's not, I think it's such a toxic, this is like so elementary, but saying I can't or saying I'm gonna die, then you won't or you will die. You know, like just tell yourself you can, push through, be as strong as long as you can. And if when you can't be strong those days, just get other people to be strong for you. Like, this sounds so weird, but like you can do anything. Now I'm like, should I become president or what? Like, no, I'm kidding. But like, it's, I think that I hate to bring up like society and culture and everything like that, but with the culture that we live in, there's such like a, oh, I wish I could do that. Why not? Go do it. Literally go do it. Oh, I wish I was more confident. Like, find a way to be more confident and do it. You want to wear that? Wear it. You want to be that person? Be that person. Say that thing you've always wanted to say. Say it. It's just, life's too short, but then again, heaven is great, you know, like stuff like that. I don't know. Yeah.
Coming from a person who, obviously, I don't think you had this mindset throughout the whole journey, right? Like when you had that serum sickness, you weren't like, oh, this is great, right?
No, obviously not. Yeah,
how do you speak to those people who are maybe in those places that where they can't find that positive mindset?
Good question.
I think it's also dangerous to tell people like, oh, you shouldn't be like sad, right? Because obviously I know that's not what you mean, but
oh, dude, yeah, like when someone's like depressed and you're like, well, just don't be. You know, I think it is different. I don't know, for me, I'd say just keep in the back of your head that this storm will pass. I don't know, it just, what kept me going was that this isn't forever. And if this is the last of my moments on earth, then when it's over, I'll be, you know, in glory, you know, like, and that's why, like, that's another point that goes to a little deeper to saying, like, I don't understand how people do it without God, because that's what kept me not sane, but like, that's what kept me being from like, I just want it all to be over, you know?
Like there's something else. He's like,
exactly. Like literally, like this suffering's not going to be eternal. This pain isn't going to last forever. It might last the next 2 hours. Yeah. So just endure it for now and like, you know, get through it, hopefully. Like you said, do the best you can, honestly.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing your story with us.
Oh my gosh, Mona, we've been talking for like an hour and I've been talking for an hour and a half. Thank you for listening, dude. Holy.
No.
And anyone else listening, thanks. I talk a lot, so.
Yeah, I think it's hard to like, I don't know, share something so personal, and I'm sure everyone who was listening really appreciates you.
Okay. Wow, thanks, Mona. Appreciate you for making the podcast, baby.
All right, and that wraps up this episode, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye.